What is going on, guys? And before I say anything, look at this dive coaster that we built. Look at these operations. They're absolutely insane. They're 3 trays, but they are rolling through the station, like not stopping at all. It's absolutely insane. But welcome back to this series where we've built coasters, we're practicing using the coaster builder and Planet Coaster basically. And you know, I see this park now, and having seen what it looks like now, and you know, maybe have some more videos for this in the future, I built this Intamin Giga coaster, and then I also built a B&M hyper coaster, and then that finishes it off. And I was like, okay, I can't just have these coasters all testing, so I end up building paths, and I might showcase it in some sort of video later. But today we are building this Intamin Giga, and oh my goodness, first off, I'm sorry that excuse me, this video took so long to get out. I moved back into college, so a lot of things to get figured out. And then this was my first time using this setup back here. And then even doing this video, I had so many issues. Like I could not use the right mic for some reason. But we made it, and honestly, this was the hardest coaster I've built. And I know I said that. I don't know which one I would say was the hardest. Probably the invert, because getting that drop, but this was the hardest, not just because of this drop, but I don't know, something about shaping the turns. The in-game overbank turns are absolutely garbage. So I basically had to build this whole ride from scratch. So what I wanted to do was basically have a combination of Millennium Force and Intimidator. And here you see me trying out the camera styles. I know they advertise that one that's on the track, but I found that one doesn't really help me that much. Let's see, I have a drink right here. This was over an hour and 30 minutes in gameplay. I think I shrank just this part of the video into about like 25 minutes, so this is definitely going real fast, but there's still going to be some sections, excuse me, where I just sit here quietly, because especially like figuring out this drop, this took way longer than it should have, but as you might have seen by the thumbnail, I probably have a nice view of this lift hill. It comes out so beautifully, and just the fact that you can do this on the console, and then I don't know if this probably was in the PC mode, but I don't think this was a thing in Roller Coaster Tycoon where you can walk around as the people, like not control them but see their view. Just seeing some of the skylines you built, especially on this Xbox, like I was literally sitting there on my bed, and it was just the most amazing thing ever. I was on my bed building this too. It's just the setup in college right now. Oh, gotta blur that out. That is Thrill Central spamming me. He does spam me a few times with party invites, I think. I don't think he knew I was recording, and I didn't stop to snap him in the middle of it. Alright, but even if I got this drop, still getting this exit is extremely hard, and I think the actual shaping of the drop was good, but the bellowing out of it doesn't end up being amazing. I'm really satisfied with the drop, though. Like it ends up looking really good. So this is my first time riding it, just trying to see how it looks. Honestly, that looks pretty good. Like that looks about as good as we can get it. And I'm noticing that I did not put catwalks on all of the lifts, so I'm going to have to add that. And as you can see, like I have the lift cable going all the way down the drop, which like Millennium goes like at least halfway down the drop, but the actual catch car doesn't go to that part. In Planet Coaster, the catch car goes all the way down, and that's what you're gonna see me looking for here. I'm like, okay, where's the catch car? Oh, did I miss it? Is it already down back there? Because it's testing, it respawned back there. So I thought that I had just like missed it and that it wasn't a problem, so I don't end up fixing it till later. But when it's actually like going, the catch car goes all the way to the end of the track, so I had to end up fixing that. But first thing I'm doing now is, like I said, I gotta add the catwalks because it makes it look a lot more realistic. And I've just been impressed overall with how realistic this game looks, and sometimes even sounds, like especially in that dive coaster. But you're gonna see in the hyper episode after this, the catwalks on that are absolutely beautiful. It looks so nice. But I do think this, for what this was, this Giga coaster came out very well. And just thinking about it, there's just some spots where after you build it, you can't go back and edit the banking. So it's too highly banked in some parts, which is annoying. And that looks about as smooth as a drop as I'm going to get. So I think I continue on. So I want to do an Intimidator style turn, and I have no clue how to do smooth banking transitions in this game. I have absolutely no clue how to do it. I try to do like the longest piece I can, and then I try to just bank it like all in that piece, but because it's long, it should be smooth, and still like when you ride it, it's not smooth. I have no clue how to do that. So this ends up being a huge problem. I honestly have no clue how Intimidator did this, because when I tried to do that big swoopy turn, you saw we went all the way to the wooden coaster. So it was really hard figuring out the angle to get it in there, because I knew I had to go through the lift. I didn't want to have it go like on the outside of the drop, because I feel like that just wouldn't look as good as it going under it. Excuse me, I hit my drink on the table. So this actually took me a long time to figure out, especially getting that transition from the turn into the airtime hill. And honestly, that's one of the parts that I wish I could go back and edit, but you cannot edit the banking after you do it. So here I'm straightening it out, and this ends up being honestly probably one of the best ejector moments in the world if this was built. I definitely should have added like a trim. I could go back and add a trim going down the drop. And I do end up changing the friction. I don't know if I did it already, and I missed seeing it, but I definitely do that. So whoever commented that, thanks. Just thanks for the comments in general. I haven't been seeing a lot recently, and I don't know if like something happened, because I got a comment and it was an extremely nice comment, but when I went to click the video, it wasn't showing up. So I'm not sure what's happening there. So I think the problem is that I end up banking back too soon, and it's not like a huge thing, but it's definitely noticeable. So again, I'm trying to get this angle right, and I turned off angle snap, which is something that I hate doing, but there are some times where you just like have to do it, where you have to get the perfect angle of something to achieve what you want. And I thought that maybe I would be able to switch from like the Millennium 4 style track to the Intimidator 305 track. Unfortunately, I was unable to do that, but honestly, this looks so nice that I didn't even change it from these colors. I had to keep the Millennium colors. It looks so nice. Well, Millennium's more like a silver, but I love this white and blue. So I'm trying to get this shaping of this airtime hill right, and of course I still let it like fly over. I could probably go back and add trims to it if I wanted to right now, but like I said, the current state of this park is that there's actually people riding these coasters, and it's so cool to go through and see. And I don't want to say these videos are stalling, but I've definitely gotten enough hang of the coaster builder to build a sandbox. But the problem is, when you look around and look at all these trees, we sort of like already have. So I'm just gonna finish this up at least. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say. We put so much time into this. I don't want to just. It's hard to just leave it and start a new one, is what I'm saying. So I honestly think that looks pretty good. I don't know if I end up changing anything on that. Yep, I end up going to it. So now the next thing I try to create is that extremely fast and banking like moment that Intimidator does after that airtime hill, where I think it's right after this hill, where you bank, where you're banked and then you go back to not being banked, and then you just bank right back. So it's extremely jerky. So that's what I try to do, but I end up not trying to create that, or not creating that very well. So what I end up doing instead is doing this little bank turn to the left, and then immediately banking back and doing a big overbank turn to the left. So there we've got like a Millennium Force element, the overbank turn. But I think this isn't the direction I end up making it. This is just what I'm trying to do. Because I did want to have like the more of the Intimidator style like thing, but that looks really wonky. So It didn't end up coming out the way I wanted it to. And it seems like, you know, that's something you should be able to easily do. Just change the banking on it, and then just bank it back to 0, and then bank it back to 90. But for some reason, like, I don't know why, but this coaster stressed me out. And this honestly makes me realize, like, No Limits 2 you can play, and like if you get frustrated or you can like get to a stopping point. By the way, this is the overbank turns. I don't know if you just saw that, but it was absolutely horrendous. I was like, okay, I guess I gotta build my own. That was not gonna work. But No Limits 2 you can be like, all right, I can be done for the day. Like, you don't build a whole coaster. Planet Coaster, I feel like you're obligated to, or at least I wouldn't save and quit building mid coaster, but still, this ride, I thought about quitting. I was like, oh my goodness, I might have been more than I could chew, but then I was like, okay, I've literally said that I'm gonna build this Intamin Giga in like the past 3 Let's Play videos before this. So I have to do it, even if it comes out terrible. But I actually think this comes out not amazing, but really good. Probably like definitely the top 3 coasters in the park. Especially in terms of realism, I think it definitely could be done. You see me using this smoothing tool a lot, and it's honestly my best friend in this. It'll fix most of the stuff I do, but sometimes it gives me an issue with banking where I think it actually screwed up. Did it screw up this overbank turn? There's one point where it just like deleted the banking entirely and just made it honestly like what a wooden coaster overbank turn would look like, where, you know, it's not banked like 120 degrees, it's more just like at a 70 degree angle. So now I gotta ride it and see how this goes. I think getting the height of that overbank was actually really a struggle for me. So that's not perfect. That was wonky. And considering how fast this video is sped up, that was not that really crawled through that. So I have to completely rebuild it. And the plan was originally for it to dive under it, but obviously this isn't my final design because I know that the track has to end up coming over it. That transition much better. And there that you see what the excuse me, the smoothing tool did. Just completely ruined the banking there, to where it's not even like realistic, and I can't go back and change that, so I have no choice but to completely rebuild that element. I actually like how that turn ended up coming. See, like that's not even 90 degrees. So now I have to completely redo that. So you can't just completely use the smoothing tool. Sometimes it won't give you exactly what you want. You know what I miss? The no lateral G-force button in No Limits 2. I might have to do a No Limits 2 lesson just because it's been that long since I played that game. But this is where I start getting extremely frustrated because the drop took forever. That transition didn't go as planned. I'm already not doing the layout I thought possible, and then getting this perfect was just absolutely annoying. So like, even though it looks completely wonky, I think like the smoothing tool will fix so much that you really just don't have to be perfect. So I'm gonna end up coming above it, and that'll create like a cool near miss for underneath it. So like let's see how much it fixes it. I'm not gonna use it completely to where it messes up the banking again. But let's see how we're looking now. And I am pretty happy with that, to be honest. So the next thing I want to do is I wanted to do a low to the ground turn, but I realized like I'm a good 10 feet above ground. I don't know. I can't see what that number is. So I just decided to do a little bit swooping turn down and like to the right. just to get us centered back up, and then I'm going to do it up into an airtime hill. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but we are in 1080, and it's honestly crazy to think about because my computer used to die recording in 640 by 480, and the audio sync messed up recording in 720, so I have no clue how we didn't mess up recording in 1080, but I just decided to try it out, and here we are, and it worked, and I'm happy it did. Because it should be much clearer now, especially because this is a next-gen experience. I really wanted to try to get it to 1080 instead of 720. So again, just that transition needs a little bit more smoothing. And honestly, I don't know if I'm happy with that airtime hill. Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be a little bit taller. Excuse me, this thing in my throat waited till I started recording a live column to be there. It was just fine right before I hit the button. Alright, so I'm fine with that hill, and then I want to do an airtime hill after that, but I know that it ends up being way bigger than that. And I end up putting a trim on it, which Intimidator does have, and you can't do the magnetic style trims on this. It would be cool if they really had like features where you could change like the track type. Like I don't know why I thought I was able to do that. For some reason I felt like in the PC version I made it with the Intimidator style track, but I have no clue. So I'm seeing how it flows around. I like how that overbank is, and then that's pretty smooth, and then I have to end up adjusting those trims and making the hill taller. And honestly, I still have no clue what the difference is between friction brakes and trim brakes in this. I probably could have used either one there. Neither of them are block zones, but they both look like, I've tried to see if they look the same. Like maybe one's a magnetic brake and one's a like friction. It's not. They're both the exact same set of brakes. So I have no clue what the difference is. So I end up adjusting that brake and then building on. So we're getting close to the finish. And I was literally going to say I end up building out. Now this really disappointed me with this coaster. You're going to see I end up building a big block zone. And then I put a transfer, like a small transfer wheel, or not transfer, what is it called? A small set of drive tires right after it. Just so that there's something separating the two block zones. And then right after the transfer wheels, I end up building another block section. But for some reason, it all meshes into one, so I couldn't run 3 trains. I could only run 2 trains. So now there's just that weirdly long section of track where it's just going forward. But I don't know what to say. Like, it's just unfortunate. It should be 2 different block zones, but it's not. I don't know if that's a glitch or that's just how it's programmed. But I also figured it was about time I start doing some slanted brake runs. Like, all of my brake runs have all been straight, like just straight brake runs. So I figured let's get a little bit more realistic, just like Intimidator 305 has. And boom, there we go. So now I know where to tie off to. And of course I'm not done. I'm not gonna end it right now. This is a really short ride, so I end up turning back into it and then going up into a nice overbank turn here. And here, this is where I start. This is where I start feeling it. I have got my groove now. This overbank turn doesn't take as long as the other one. Plus, it has to be way lower to the ground. And then after that, just a little airtime hill, and honestly, this ends up being like the Maverick airtime hill, but with a Millennium Force sized car going over it. So I don't know how practical this one is. Well, honestly, Millennium has a really small airtime hill, but now all I have to do is turn into this, and that's honestly like so cool. So I'm just gonna start back, just gonna get this turn like perfect, and then use that tool to just smooth it all out. And that was so easy that when as soon as I connected it, I was like, wow, that was actually a very useful tool. So of course we got to add the catwalks to make it look realistic. I'm not forgetting that anymore. And I'm going to smooth out the rest of the parts. And boom, here's my first POV, like, just sort of looking without any scenery. Honestly, I am extremely happy with how it goes over there. And that banking, you're going to see me go and try to fix some of these banking, but like I said, like, it's extremely hard to fix the banking, and those brakes did not put it where I wanted it to, and I ended up adjusting those trims just a little bit. Like right here, I feel like it's way too banked out of there, and there's no way for me to adjust it. I'm holding X trying to do it, like when you, like the button you hold to bank normally, just doesn't do anything. And right there, like it goes straight into a 90-degree turn, and it's just not good, and I cannot adjust it. It's honestly pretty frustrating. So now I'm just adjusting all the speed, and I like to slow it down a little bit because I feel like the default speeds that the transfers go is a little bit too fast, and even though it's just an obnoxiously long section that is only one block, here's where you're gonna see me trying to like fix it and realizing that it's only one block, even though I made it two, which is really annoying. So now I'm just watching it, seeing how it goes, and I really like how it comes off that brake run. I really hope you guys couldn't hear me itch my leg, but if so, that's what I was doing. Uncut commentary. So yeah, now I'm like, okay, what if I just put a blank section of track between it? Now will it be another block and let me do 3 trains? Nope. So I have absolutely no clue what to do about that. Now I accidentally moved it, and I had to undo it, and yeah, just not a good time. But I'm looking at the cuts. I'm almost done, like just editing the coaster. This is my last little POV before I start adding scenery. Oh my God. Honestly, for a Giga, like I feel like this could be extremely practical. Like just fixing my bankings, and wow, I'm just happy with how it came out. Alright, so now I have it sped up as fast as Sony Vegas will let me for the scenery placing. And again, I use rocks, which I don't normally do, and you see me getting the achievements for building a big coaster, but I don't normally use rocks. I use it in the Giga and a little bit on the RMC, but I felt like it would be cool if I placed rocks on one side of this bank turn and then like trees on the other. So I'm just going to be quiet while I finish placing the rocks on this turn. And if you've made it this far, we are getting close to the POV. If you've seen these videos before, scenery is the last thing we do before the POVs. So I thank you for making it this far, or if you watched the POVs and came back, like I say every time, thank you for going back and watching it. My voice has been extremely not good in this one. I apologize for that. Hopefully it's good. I'm going to do the B&M Hyper episode right after that. So if you're seeing this one, just know that that will be uploaded. And then I'm thinking, might be a spoiler, but I'm thinking of like walking or doing a video about what it looks like, the parks looks like through the eyes of like the people that walk around. I don't know if they're called peeps in this or what. So my problem with this is that I'm thinking too hard about it. So I'm like, okay, what kind of design can I do? Because I know I don't want to use just one tree, but so I have to leave space for the others, so I don't place them randomly. And I'm like, okay, what if I place one for turns and one? And it was just not. It wasn't helping. That I figured out the tree that I do not want to use. Finally, it was that one because it has all of like the animated stuff on it. So I ended up placing this tree on the other side of the turn. And just placing trees does way more than I ever thought it would. Like I said, starting these, I like my coasters to be more realistic in how they flow and just like the practicality of them being built, not the actual scenery around them. And once I started placing trees, like it just started my or not products, but what the end products just started looking so amazing. So now, I mean, I'm placed a little random, but just trying to use as many different trees as I can. Like I said, I still do not like have this tree palette memorized, so I have no clue which trees I use. I know I have to have something lining the lift hill. I just can't have an empty space there. And just look at this view already starting to shape out with the lift hill. It's absolutely amazing. And I accidentally deleted the entire coaster. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but thank goodness I know how to use the undo tool in this game. I was so scared. I was like, what did... Because I was trying to delete one of the trees that I placed and accidentally deleted a whole coaster. They should definitely have some sort of confirmation. But now I'm just placing a few more trees. Need something to go on the back side of this turn. And it's so high above the ground, it's pretty hard. So I'm just going to use those. And I can see the cut. The POV is coming soon. Right now I'm just looking at, look at that. What a view. That's why I think the drop came out so well, because that looks so nice. The shaping of it. I'm glad I put time into shaping my my drops. But with that, this is the POV we're waiting for. Oh, it doesn't happen yet because I remember this. I could not figure out how to get it to start. I had to turn off testing to turn it back on. But this is the POV. I'm going to be quiet and enjoy. Well, actually, I lied. I'm sorry. I just realized what I'm doing here. So the cable, I hate the transition of the cable lift. How it's you go out and then attach to it. There's no way to just have a smooth transition. So I decided to at least slow down the speed that you come out of the station so that it doesn't look completely weird. And now here's the POV after I fixed that. Sorry. wow. Like honestly, like I said, there's parts in that where the banking is just terrible, and if I could fix those, I feel like this would be like not perfect. I'm never gonna say that, but very like close. Definitely an amazing coaster. It already is, and I can really tell that like I'm starting to get the hang of the coaster builder. Just you can tell if you go back to the first coasters as coming to now, just how smooth. I really feel like that went through the layout so well, and I'm really proud of this. And then the B&M Hyper, knowing how that turns out, I feel like these last two coasters definitely were the two best ones that I built, which is really a good thing, because that just means that I improved. But let's just look at this view. I mean, this is what blows my mind. I'm sitting here on my bed on a console. I just built an Intamin Giga coaster, and just look at the view. It's absolutely stunning. But with that, just like every video, I'm gonna leave you guys with a shot overview of the park and everything we have built. Of course, there is a video for every coaster in this park, which is just extremely cool. Like this whole park has been showcased on YouTube. Now this just takes a second to get started. I'm waiting for it to load. And this ends up being one of the longest lines in the park, even now with all the rides in there. And just look at that from the entrance. You can see the massive Giga coaster in the back, and I love sitting here looking at the view, all the rides. You got the dive coaster there. I mean, wow. And to think like this just started with me building that aero coaster. I'm like, okay, let me just see if I can get the hang of the coaster builder. And then it went to the wood coaster, and we just kept going. But with that, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to end it with this aerial view for you guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Catch me now. Can you catch me now? Can you catch me?